How to free your mind from the matrix. Martin North, John Adams. In the interest of the people. Hi, John.
How are you, mate?
Pretty good.
Excellent.
Right, so the secret is the red pill.
Yes. So for people who are aware of the movie The Matrix from about 21 years ago, so there's a very interesting dichotomy between those who are trapped in the simulated world, the blue pill, what the mainstream media would tell you in our context about the mainstream economy and how everything is traveling, everything is fantastic, fundamentals are strong, etc. And then people who actually want a real assessment, a sober assessment about the economy, the politics, financial markets. You go to alternative media, and obviously we are one of the main channels in Australia who are casting light about the real state of the debt bubble. The household debt bubble, the foreign debt bubble, the state of politics, the inaction on a whole host of fronts where action needs to happen, and then a whole bunch of things that the mainstream media won't talk about, whether it's the cash ban, bail-in, deposit insurance that we just reposted recently, and a whole host of other complex topics that the public should be informed about, but they're not.
Sure. And we've had a few issues because of the position that we've taken.
Yes. So we've had issues with some of our videos around demonetization with YouTube. And so today is to talk about this issue that we're having and how it's actually impacting people across Australia and across the world to access our content. And so we'll explain how these challenges are coming up, and we've got a bit of a roadmap as to how people can overcome these obstacles from YouTube so that they can actually watch our content pretty much in real time. So one of the things we are seeing is that when we are demonetized, we have a very slow uptake in our videos, and that's actually limiting our ability to get our message out. And so we can talk about how people can be better informed in real time about when we post and the topics we're posting about.
Yeah, and just to be clear, when we talk about demonetizing, we're talking about individual videos, right? So it's not the whole channel.
That's right.
It's just some videos when we actually post them. Essentially, for various reasons, we don't get the YouTube algorithms working in our favor, which means that people may not know about the videos. We don't get the view uptake that we probably should, although it's worth saying also that when we appeal, every time we've been allowed to monetize later, but we've missed that early window of opportunity.
Yes. So we had our video that came out earlier this week, which is about deposit insurance, and we were demonetized earlier this week, and YouTube said that this content is not suitable for advertisers. Now, the interesting thing from what you told me, I think yesterday morning, was that when we did post this in 2018, we were not demonetized. So YouTube was happy to associate our discussion about deposit insurance and the scam of that to advertisers, and advertisers were willing to have their products promoted when we put our content on that. But this week we've had an issue, so we appealed. And that appeal was successful. So now, we are now monetized. Now, kind of like what you touched on. So there is a YouTube algorithm that basically that promotes YouTube content and spreads it right across the network. And so one of our objectives when we put a new video out is to make sure that our content is picked up by this algorithm that we're posted, that is spread right across YouTube, so more people get to watch our content. But when it's not, when we are demonetized, basically we don't have access to the algorithm, and that means that less people are informed that we've posted, and that's one of the reasons why for the first 24 hours we have a slow uptake in people watching our content, and then sometimes it makes all the difference. I mean, we had a video a couple of weeks ago where we were talking about negative interest rates, and nearly 80,000 people have watched that show, and that was a very rapid uptake. Because the algorithm picked it up and pushed it to a lot of people right across the country. Whereas we've had some other videos where we've sort of struggled in the first few days to hit 10,000 views purely because we've been demonetized and YouTube has elected not to promote our content widely, to a whole bunch of viewers who would be potentially interested in what we have to say.
Yeah, and just to go further on that, there are two reasons why extending the reach is important. Firstly, because it's important that more people listen to us and hear what we've got to say, because it's really important. And of course, there is also a little bit of a financial consequence too, because essentially we are monetizing to allow us to invest back in the channel as we go forward. So if we don't get people effectively engaging with us around the monetization, we don't get funds, then allows us to make more shows. So it's quite important that we actually have that as well.
Correct. So in terms of the YouTube algorithm, so I'll just spend a little bit of time on this. So I'll just put we'll just put something up on the screen for people to look at. So basically, the YouTube algorithm helps promote content basically around the following areas: around search results, in the recommended streams on your YouTube homepage, in trending streams, in channel subscriptions, and in notifications. So this is why this. So these are the key points where a lot of people tend to watch YouTube content, and this algorithm helps push videos right across these various aspects. Now, one of the interesting pieces of one of the interesting trends around YouTube is that approximately 70% of content watched on YouTube is because these videos pop up, or YouTube is suggesting content rather than people searching for content. So a lot of the content watched on YouTube is because people are being pushed in certain directions. Now, interesting, around the 2016 US election, there was allegations of that these search algorithms were basically promoting one candidate over another, and that's perhaps a different conversation for a different video. But these algorithms have enormous influence over who watches our content, and how often. And so that's why these algorithms are actually quite important, that our content gets picked up, because there's a whole host of people who could be helped, whether they're not aware of the economy, or whether they're deep in debt and they want a different point of view. Well, our ability to target those people is linked to our ability to get this algorithm to pick up our videos.
Yes, and there are two elements to the way the algorithm works. The first is on the flags and tags that are actually attached to the video. So we spend quite a lot of time trying to get those working the best we can, right? And then there is also the engagement with users, so what they've liked already and what the comments are. So those two things together effectively drive the recommendations that YouTube then make.
Indeed. And probably, Martin, the other aspect we should just touch on is this issue of shadow banning. Now, shadow banning has become a big issue with Twitter and Facebook. And that's basically when the platform basically stops other people from viewing the content of a particular individual Twitter account, Facebook account, or a particular channel. Now, there have been some allegations of shadow banning may be happening on YouTube. So what that would mean is that if we put up a post, YouTube is making a deliberate decision that our videos would not be seen in search lists for other people unless if they are a subscriber or they get our notifications. So now there's a bit of an open question with YouTube. I mean, I think it's more definitive with Twitter and Facebook and some of these other platforms about whether shadow banning actually occurs. But the other challenge around what we face is, one is about demonetization, but the other one is if shadow banning is actually occurring, and if certain advertisers or YouTube or certain other bodies may not want some of our discussions on the economy, the banking system, public policy, cash ban, etc. If they don't want this content out there, YouTube can make it hard, and it's very hard for content creators to understand exactly when shadow banning is being implemented. So it could make it hard for us to get our message out to as many Australians and many of our international viewers as much as possible.
Yeah, my own view is I don't think we are being shadow banned at the moment. There's no evidence of that in any of the algorithm reports that I see. But there is always a risk. But I guess the other interesting point there is that when the video is propagated, right, we follow quite quickly. We can see pretty much real time what's going on. So I always go in and check right when the video is posted to see whether it got monetized or whether it didn't get monetized, and I appeal straight away. But it's a 2 or 3 day delay to get the appeal through, by which time we missed the boat. So there are some tricks that we're going to talk about shortly that allows people to make sure that they actually get alerted directly and can circumvent shadow banning as well.
Yeah. So in terms of just talking about our channel for 1 second, so we've been broadcasting with this unique channel for about 11 and a half months, noting that we did about 35 shows in 2018 on Walk the World. So in 11 and a half months, so today we just reached 20,000 subscribers, so a bit of a milestone for us. Now,
thanks, guys.
Obviously, thank you to the audience. Now, one of the interesting things is that 17.4 million people across the globe have actually seen one of our videos, in terms of just seeing it in terms of a search list or playlist, etc. Now, the click-through, and we'll put an image on the screen to describe this, the click-through is only about 4.4%. So we've had a small number of these 17 million people who have decided to try our content out, and in some cases people have said, okay, I like this, I want to subscribe, or I want to come back and obviously watch more. Martin, the other thing I should say is that of the 17.4 million people who have watched and seen an image of one of our videos in some of their search functions on YouTube, we've had 767,000 views in terms of our videos. Now, a lot of these views are people who are our repeat followers, our consistent followers, but it is also an indication that we do have a lot of people who come in and out of the channel, and they may pick and choose what sort of videos that they may wish to see. So we've had a lot of people who who have accessed our content so far. So that's obviously a very good sign. And the other sort of important thing is that of these 17.4 million impressions, this is what YouTube calls it, is 87% of these impressions have been recommended. So this is where the algorithm comes into play. So people have first seen an image of our videos on a search list somewhere, or on a recommended list, because YouTube is suggesting that content. So once we've had a number of videos where we've had 80,000, 90,000, 110,000 views, and some of these are the key videos that they spread widely across YouTube, and these are the videos that are appearing in people's search functions. Now, a small amount of people have decided to click onto our videos to watch, but obviously, hopefully, if we produce very good content in 2020, we'll have more viewers and more subscribers coming forward.
Yeah, and those conversion ratios are actually pretty much middle of the road for typical YouTube. So one of the things that YouTube does is to actually give an illustrative range of the sorts of conversion ratios you get. So we're doing pretty well based on how the YouTubes are tracking at the moment.
So if people want to access our content, one of the easiest things that they can do to make sure that they see our content on a regular basis is to subscribe to the channel. So as we said before, we have about 20,000 people who have subscribed to the channel. So what does subscribing mean? It basically means that when you look at your search functions, or your recommended playlist, or if you're looking from a desktop or a laptop, and you're looking at the YouTube homepage, you'll see a whole bunch of videos popping up that are basically from channels you've subscribed to. So by subscribing to the channel, our videos will pop up. Will pop up for you to know that we have new content that we've posted on the channel. Now,
when you go into YouTube.
Yes, when you go into YouTube.
Correct.
Yes. Now, one of the interesting things is that according to the YouTube analytics, over the life of the channel, 68.8% of those who have watched our content are not subscribers. Now, I think slightly over time, because these statistics are based from when we first started, which was no subscribers, to now. So over time, I think maybe this number has sort of changed a little bit. But over the lifetime of the channel, nearly 70% of people who watch our content are not subscribers, and so this could be also another reason why when we get demonetized, our views get hit quite a bit, because people don't know that we have actually posted new content.
And that not subscribe ratio of 68.8% is way higher than on the DFA channel, and it's way higher than many other YouTube channels. So we have a lot of people who've listened to our stuff but haven't subscribed. So, it is worth saying, guys, do subscribe.
Yes. And obviously, like we said, if you subscribe, our videos will pop up, in a whole bunch of areas around YouTube, and so you get, more information about our new content that we will be putting out, throughout 2020. Now, the other thing that people can do is to enable notifications. So notifications is, for example, when I watch a lot of YouTube from my smartphone, from my iPhone. So when Martin puts up a new show in the interest of the people, I get something popping up on my phone saying a new show has just been loaded up. So basically, that requires a two-step process. And Martin, do you want to explain what that two-step process is for our viewers?
Yes, and it's not complicated, but a lot of people haven't quite got their head around it, right? So the first thing is that YouTube needs you to turn on notifications from YouTube, right? So that's the really important part, because whilst you can actually turn on notifications for the particular channel, ring the bell in other words, right? You won't get any messages unless you've also turned on notification from YouTube as well. Now that is not in the channel, that's actually to do with your own profile on YouTube, right? Whereas ringing the bell for interest of the people is actually channel specific.
Yeah. So just putting some new statistics, look, we'll put it up on the screen. So basically, we can see about 20%, roughly about 20% of our subscribers have hit the bell for our channel. And so that works out to be about 4,000 people. But of those 4,000 people, around 2,800 have actually gone into the YouTube settings and actually have enabled all notifications to allow them to basically be notified either through some sort of popping up something on YouTube if you're on your laptop, desktop, or in terms of your phone, your smart device, etc. So we have about 1,200 people who have hit the bell but haven't actually enabled notifications in their home settings, and so they're not getting actually alerts to say that we have new content being posted. So if people want to know in real time, is there a new show on today? Basically, the easy thing to do is to not only subscribe, but to actually ring the bell, go into your YouTube settings, enable notifications, and then if you have a smart device, that smart device will tell you in real time when a show has been posted live on the channel, and you get basically instant access to our content. And so compared to the average performance for an average YouTube channel, I mean, we're doing reasonably well in terms of what percentage of people are enabling notifications and hitting the bell. But obviously, one of the ways that we can get around this issue of demonetization and lacking access to the YouTube algorithm is if more people have their smartphones buzzing saying a new show is up there. Well, if you get that notification, more people are more willing to obviously watch our new show. So this is another way to escape from the matrix, as in the simulated fake world, is by subscribing and then hitting the notifications, and then you will have more access, and you'll be alert to what we have to say, throughout January. But also, obviously, and January is going to be important as we get to the hearing on the 30th of January with the cash ban, and then going into what Parliament does in early February. But also, we have some other big things to talk about throughout the year.
Yeah, and I think it's might be worth just saying, John, that the reason we're still on YouTube, right, is because of the reach of YouTube relative to other platforms that are around, and the fact that we can still generate some revenue, not a lot, but some revenue from the channel, which helps to cover the costs of the production, right? Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why we are on YouTube. If things got really bad, we've got alternatives, but at the moment, our strategy is to use YouTube as our primary distribution channel.
Yes, and you know, one of the things that, you know, I think it's fair to say is, you know, you and I off camera have done a bit of a scan and looking at the you know, potential other sort of channels, looking, you know, that are talking about sort of you know, the things we talk about, from economics to politics to financial markets, etc. And so when you look at alternative media platforms in Australia talking about these sort of topics, I mean, we tend to get the highest ratings on a more consistent basis. So there are other people out there doing great work, but I think, you know, without blowing our trumpet too loudly, you know, we're probably the leading channel, and we've had definitely the most impact. When we look at, you know, the RBA changing the website around our shows about gold, you know, the whole issue around the cash ban, the Senate inquiry, I mean, we got that up. You know, a whole host of other sort of key topics where, you know, journalists and politicians come to watch our content, and we've had a couple of politicians in 2019 come and share their thoughts, you know, whether it's about Western Australia or whether it's Malcolm Roberts about the cash ban itself. And so, you know, we're obviously hoping to bring on more influential people in 2020 to talk about a whole host of important topics as the economy gets more dicier. And so this is one of the reasons why people like to, you know, continually come in and see what we have to say.
Yeah, and we've got a few other plans as well. You know, we're thinking perhaps there might be some merch that might be there in the background as we go forward, and we might even create some more stuff around the community as we go forward too. There are some things that YouTube now offers which we haven't yet taken up, and we probably could do that as well as part of developing the channel.
Absolutely.
So John, thank you for that. I think it's really important, please, to everybody, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. If you haven't turned on notifications, turn on notifications, and make sure that YouTube is also notifying you so that you can follow us whether we're demonetized or not on a particular video.
Of course. And so, you know, by doing all those things, this gives you the best way to ensure that your mind is free of the matrix.
Yep. Martin North, John Adams, Interest Bit. See you next time.